Greetings everyone and welcome to another Midnight Hunt draft, and I get a mythic rare in pack 1 pick 1. It's a mythic rare I don't have at 4 copies yet, so I will pick it no matter what. But then again, it's also the best card in the pack. Basically, it's very close to a bomb rare. It is a 4 mana 4/4 flying trample, which has the anthem effect for humans. It's great, and with Coven you get some so top 5 cards in your library, human creature card. Okay, you basically can draw extra cards with this. There's of course a lot of humans in this set, especially in colors green and white. Now the only kind of a strike against this card is of course that it is a 2-color card, but there's no way I'm going to pick anything else. I think the second best card in the pack is the Hound Tamer. It's sort of sad to pass it when I get pick a green-white card here, but it's just too good to ignore here. And I think, well, okay, this is an interesting pack though. By the way, did I say it's a traditional draft? If I didn't, now I do. I don't recall what I said. So this is a best of 3 draft. Anyway, so if I want to stay on color, I think the Pestilent Wolf would be a reasonable pick here. It's a decent 2-drop. You always want to have 2-drops. But there are better cards in this pack too. So there's a Moonrage's Slash and the Olivia's Midnight Ambush. Now, this might be a slightly better card in some cases, but this is the better color to be in. So I could take the best card in this pack, which I think is the Midnight Ambush. Overwhelmed Alchemist is really good too. But I could just force green-white here. But can I get something like a Pestilent Wolf later in the draft? I think I can. I'll take the black card in case that happens to be open. It's still a consideration to, because this is double white card, so I couldn't really be, so let's say green and black and then splash this card. But I could be green-white, black-white and splash for green if I want to. Now, that said, this pack has, considering what I have picked already here, doesn't have too many good options. I mean, there's a Clarion Cathars and there's an Unruly Mob, which are, fine cards, but they are nothing exciting. The best card in the pack, I think, is the Grizzly Goal. But if I pick this and if I would be drafting green and black, which is not necessarily a great archetype, but this is good enough a card that I might be interested in it. I couldn't play the Sigarda in that case, but I'm not picking these white cards here just because I have the Sigarda. I think I'll take the best card in the pack, especially because I did take the Olivia's Midnight Hunt from, in pick number 2 here. So I kind of went the route of just picking the best cards and then seeing what's open later when I have gotten more picks and I maybe see and can understand what color or colors can be open in this draft. Because I can still be green-white. I just wanted to pick these other better cards in case I have to ignore the green-white path. And then I, of course, don't want to miss out on these good cards. Now here, there's nothing, well, there's one black card, but don't think it's that interesting that I would be picking it right now. There's a nice green card, and there are 3 playable white cards. I think I like the Silversmith more than the Morning Patrol. The 2-drop is good too, but I think currently it seems like whatever I'm gonna play based on these cards, I'm gonna play green, and I'm gonna take the Dawnhunt Mentor because I think it's quite good. So I can still be green-white or green-black currently. Both are options that are available to me. Now this is an interesting pick now. This could be a kind of like a turning point in the draft. Because there's like a playable white card, Morning Patrol. I could take that and just ignore the black cards I have picked here. Or maybe splash them if I get a bunch of fixing. And be green-white. But then I can take the Eaten Alive, which is a better card than the Morning Patrol. That would mean that I will ignore the Sigarda. And I think because this is the only white card I have here, I don't want to force white too much here. I'll take the Eaten Alive because it's a fantastic card and maybe I can be green and black. Now I do get some white here still, so white definitely is not completely overdrafted here. It is open, so I could be drafting white here. But I have Eaten Alive, Olivia's Midnight Ambush and Grizzly Goal. This is 3 black cards I could be I would be very interested in running. I have one great white card in here. I think I'll take the tireless hauler here. I feel like I'd rather be just, green black and ignore the mythic rare I picked. Yeah, I get a good 2-drop here. It's actually a pretty easy pick here. Let's put the Sigarda to the sideboard for now. Okay, Rotten Reunion, no way out. And there's Evolving Wilds. I'll take the Evolving Wilds. The land mana fixing is more important than these kind of, playable cards, but they are not, that strong in the end. So I try to be green and black now. There's a good white 2-drop though. Also very nice blue-red card. But well, that's of course not a route I can take here after these picks. I'm not going to draft blue and red. So the question is, I think, one of the green cards or the Cathar Commando. How many creatures I have for? I'm not really sure, but I don't want to take another 5-drop. Yeah, I'll take the Howl of the Hunt here. Because I think with the black cards I have here, I kind of want to be just black here. Yeah, I will ignore the mythic rare. Green and black. That's what I'm gonna play here. I'll take the Blood Pact. Maybe put it in the sideboard. I'm not sure I want to main deck that thing. Alright, I don't think I care about running multiple Howl of the Hunt, so maybe I'll take the Unruly Mob in case maybe I open another green or something like a white mythic rare and I want to move to white anyway. So I have the Unruly Mob now as an option here at least. Here I don't think anything interests me, so let's just take something. I'll take the black card. It's an uncommon, so alright, well there's a Mask of Griselbrand. There's also Covered Cutpurse, Stromkirk, Blood Thief, there's a Clear Shot, and well, there are. I like the Hobbling Zombie quite a bit actually. I like, of course, another Evolving Wilds. Novice Occultist, not a bad one either. So this pack has basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. I wouldn't mind having. Stromkirk Bloodleaf is not as good as the Covered Cutpurse, at least not in this deck. But I think I'll take the Mask of Griselbrand. It seems like it can overwhelm some opponents, and in some racing situations it's just great. But it is a 3-mana card, it doesn't do anything when you just play the 3 mana cost. But when you get to equip, it's going to be fantastic. Especially if I can do something, equip something like a Tireless Hauler. I think it's just too good to ignore here. So I'll take the rare here, but it's not like it is a very good one in certain situations. But if opponent has, for example, a lot of interaction, kill spells, bounce spells, and stuff like that, this can be quite slow to just move around, and opponent can punish your tempo loss that you are going to have to suffer when you try to equip this to something. But when they don't have an answer to this thing or the creature that's carrying this thing, you are going to win quite easily. So I think it's worth the kind of downside here. Alright, Defenestrate over Timberland Guide. I think it's a very easy choice here, because the Timberland Guide would be my second choice from that pack. Now this is a decent pack too for my colors. There's another Dawnhunt Mentor, Eccentric Farmer, Novice Occultist, cards I wouldn't mind having, but I think the Clear Shot is still the pick to make. But I have only 4 creatures now, so I have to pay some attention to actual creatures. But it's good enough that I should still pick this uncommon here now, hoping to get some creatures. It doesn't actually matter really what creatures they are. Now this pack will have a creature for me. I don't like the Snarling Wolf, but I like the other options. Do I want to have a 2-drop or the Hobbling Zombie, which I might? I'm not taking the Path Whisperer because 4-drops are not priority. I want to have early drops now, and I have only like 1 Timberland Guide. I think the Hobbling Zombie is often good. Now I do have the Eaten Alive though. Okay, fine. I think it's better enough than the Timberland Guide. I will take the Death Touch thing, but my deck definitely needs more 2-drops. That said, I'm getting these 2-drops here. Now I'm not taking the Duel for Dominance. I have an interaction here already. I need creatures, and Blood Thief Collector is fine, but I think that 2-drop is just more important now. I already have a 5-drop here, for instance. I can find more 5-drops, and I just want to have the ability to curve out, and I will take the Timberland Guide now to make sure I can do exactly that. Okay, here another tireless hauler. There's a Bat Whisperer and a Return to Nature, which in best of 3 drafts, which this is it's a reasonable sideboard card. So it's going to be one of these 3. Should I try the Bat Whisperer? I think I'll take it, because the 5 drops, it seems like I'm gonna get those. I'm not gonna want to play like a ton of 5 drops. It's only pack 2, pick 6. I feel like I will have options to pick more 5 drops. I'll take the Bat Whisperer, I like it. I think it's quite nice. I'll take another Hobbling Zombie here easily over the other options here. That's a really easy pick here. And then, okay, Plummet for the sideboard actually. Yeah, in best of 3, this is a fantastic pick, because from a sideboard you can side it in against opponents that, you know, have good target for it. In best of 1 it's pretty bad because you just don't wanna, you know, play a card that could be even a complete blank or just a very weak card. So, okay, that is an easy pick there for the sideboard. This pack has a Novice Occultist, which I'm gonna take here. And now I could pick another Howl of the Hunt or a first Might of the Old Ways. Is this deck going to have easy way to get the common? Because when this thing draws a card, it's pretty sweet. But this has a permanent pump effect, so it's kind of tough. Maybe I will still play this. It's possible I will cut also it. Rotten Reunion. It's a main deckable card, but it's also... I think I put it to the sideboard for now, but I can move it to the main deck maybe. I'll take the old green card here now. Whatever. So 17 or 16 non-land, so I need basically 7 cards for the deck. And my sideboard has some cards I could run in the main deck. So I think it's okay. So I have 9 creatures, 7 non-creatures. Slaughter Specialist. There's a Hound Tamer. Okay, so this thing is a 2-mana 3/3 that can grow. It gives the opponent a 1/1. But whenever a creature an opponent control dies, this gets a +1/+1 counter. It is pretty nice, but I really like the Hound Tamer as well. Maybe I need like a 2-drop here. I think the Hound Tamer is just so strong with the ability. Fine, I'll take this, but I'm not sure it's the correct pick. But I took it because I feel I need a 2-drop more than I need a 3-drop. That's the reason I chose it, that one over it. But I think the Hound Tamer might be a better pack 1, pick 1. Although you might want to take a black card over a green card in pack 1, pick 1. But let's assume they were the same color cards. I think in pack 1, pick 1 situation you would rather take the Hound Tamer. Anyway, here, Ecstatic Awakener, Vampire Interloper, Evolving Wilds, Harvest-Tide Sentry, all our options. I think I like the Awakener the most here. I have also some food to sacrifice for it, so I'll just take that one here. Okay, I got a Hound Tamer. Is there something better this time? There is a 2-drop, but now this is... I guess I have now enough 2-drops. I mean, at least I have one more than in the previous scenario when I had this as an option. So now I will take the Hound Tamer over the Pestilent Wolf. Because the threat of activation for this thing is pretty important, and this gives permanent counters. It's not a +1/+1 until end of turn. It's a permanent counter. That can always be pretty sweet, especially if the game goes long for some reason. And it's a 3-mana 3/3 with trample, as like, you know, in the you know, if it doesn't do anything else, it's at least a creature that is worth its mana cost, no matter what. All right, here. I guess I could take another 5-drop now. The Bounding Wolf isn't really interesting. I have enough 3-mana cards here. Return to Nature is a good sideboard card, but maybe I'll take the 5-drop now. I'll make sure I have enough playables, and then I will start picking maybe sideboard cards over playables after that. Now, Dreadhound is it's a fantastic card, first of all, and then the only option for me would be the Plummet, but I have already one Plummet, and even if I didn't, I would take the Dreadhound over a Plummet any day. Color balance is pretty even. I have one Evolving Wild, so a bit of fixing available. 14 creatures, 7 non-creatures. Tavolar, I'm not splashing this, I don't think. In red-green, I guess I could pack one. In a pack 1, pick 1 situation, I could take this and just go for the red-green archetype because this is a really good one in that, of course. But now I'll just take, well, not a lot of options. The Path to the Festival is not a great card, especially when I'm not splashing, so I can take the Blade Brand. It's not really that bad. Okay, so here the Rejuvenator, I'm not taking the another Might of the Old Ways, no. I could take the Outlaw, but I just feel like I have a bunch of 3-drops already, and this is not really that important. I think I take the Rejuvenator, getting life, adding some mana here. Could be useful with the 5 and 6 drops I have here. And I don't have that many 4-drops. Not an exciting card by any means, but I think it's, in terms of mana curve, it was okay pick, to have another 4-drop here. Tapping at the window, probably not what I want. How about the Bounding Wolf or the Bramble Armor? I'm not really excited about either of them. I think I'll take the Duress for the sideboard. I really got this thing back. Now this was the pack 1 pick 1, wasn't it? I took the, pack 3 pick 1. I took the Slaughter Specialist over this thing when I was really having a hard decision to pick. I wanted to take this. Now I got both of them from the pack. That was very good news for me. Okay, now I can take another Plummet for the sideboard. And another Bat Whisperer. Okay, I have a bunch of cuts to make. I think the Bounding Wolf isn't really important for my deck here. Return to Nature, I don't have any of those, so I want to have access to one of them in my sideboard. So I got even that. So basically I got all I wanted. So this is a green and black deck that seemed to be at least somewhat open here. I got some decent green and decent black cards here. But let's see how good the archetype is gonna be. Am I gonna get any wins with it? Yeah, I should move my camera first. Okay, so I don't think the Blood Pact or the other stuff in my sideboard is worth putting to the main deck because I have a couple of cuts I need to still make here. So I'll just go to this mode. Maybe this is 14 black, 12 green. Oh, okay, I cut the lands for now. I will decide them later. So I will be playing 17 lands. So that means I need to make 2 cuts. I think Hall of the Hunt might be one of them. And then there's also the Might of the Old Ways I might not need. I mean, if I just cut those, that is, I cut 2 green, I have 14 black, 10 green still. Let's see the creature curve for now. So 4 2-mana creatures, a lot of 3-mana creatures. Not sure if I want to run like 2 Bat Whisperers here. Defenestrate, Mask of Griselbrand. Yeah, I do like all my... This could be a 5-mana spell sometimes, so maybe I put it to the 5-drop slot. So in terms of early game, I have these 2-drop creatures and then I have the Olivia's Midnight Ambush. But I don't think my sideboard really has anything to help in that regard. There's like a 1-drop here, but it's a 1-mana 1/1. It's not good. This would have 17 creatures, 6 non-creatures. How often am I gonna get the Bat Whisperer happening? I guess there's like a chance with the Hoppling Zombies. Opponent don't want to block this with any creature. Only with like a weak 2 and 3 drops they want to block this. Because if I cut like 1 Bat Whisperer, what would that mean? I would be playing something like a Rotten Reunion. One of the tricks here, Howl of the Hunt, or the Might of the Old Ways. I have 4 werewolves, no wolves, so there's not a lot of creatures that this can untap. Not that it's that important. The more important part of the card is, of course, the flash, +2/+2, and vigilance also can matter quite a bit. But I don't still think it's that good. Maybe I'd rather just run the Blade Brand. It's cheaper. works nicely with cards like Novice Occultist. Maybe I play the one of the Timberland guides so that I give the counter to some other creature, and then I can still have a 1/1 creature on which I use the Blade Brand, and it actually trades with something. Could be valuable. So this is a bit of a heavy curve. I do have 4 mana cards, 2 5-mana cards, a 6-mana card. Each and Alive can be cast for 1 mana in some cases. So, alright, this is the main deck. This is how I choose to play the main deck. And I have more black than green. I have a double black cast card. I have another double black. But I have also these green cards. I probably want to have... I mean, there are 2-drops and 3-drops that I would definitely want to be playing on turn 2 and turn 3 if I happen to draw them. So the mana base will be Evolving Wilds and there's some number of basic lands, which could be because of the... Well, that said, I don't usually want to play the Mask of Griselbrand on turn 3 because it just doesn't do anything. It's very slow. If you are going to equip something on turn 4 and the opponent has, you know, interaction on that thing, you just wasted 6 mana without doing anything. So it just this kind of, even though it's a 3-mana card, it's maybe like a card that's relevant later in the game. So the double caster isn't... Normally, if you have a 3-mana double caster, you want to have the mana available for it on turn 3. But in terms of this equipment, maybe it's not that important. So I think I'm still going to play an even split of basic lands, 8-8. Because I have more black cards and the double casters, I could play 9-7. But I want to play my, like I said, if I have a Timberland Guide or the Hound Tamer in my starting hand, I want to be able to cast them, you know, on turn 2 and turn 3. So let's just play 8-8 basics in addition to the Evolving Wilds. So this will be the main deck now. Come on. Alright. Okay, so 4 lands, both colors, 2-drop, 2-drop, 5-drop. Opponent mulligans, it's an easy keep. I mean, regardless of opponent mulliganing or not. That doesn't often affect your decision to keep if your opponent mulligans, but maybe in some cases it might matter. Here I have the double black available already, so I'm just gonna get a green mana. Now all the lands I'll be drawing will be entering untapped. Festival Crasher, okay. They did not attack. They actually could have done that, but maybe they didn't want me to attack back with 2 here. Yeah, let's just Oh, I drew the Hound Tamer. I didn't actually realize. Well, it's a fantastic card. Let's do it. Opponent seems to be actually missing a color. They didn't have a 3-drop at all. They still are only playing mountains here. Can they kill the Hound Tamer? They have at least... Oh, they have that thing. Well, I can kill that. So that's all fine. But am I gonna use... Well, let's see first if I'm gonna draw a land. I don't want to sacrifice a creature on this thing, although I could actually with the Dawnheart Mentor now, and I also have a 5-drop available here, so I don't necessarily want to play this on with 5 mana. Okay, so the thing is, I also could here, you know, not play any spell and then use this on their turn. It's mine. It would be night. It's minus 13 on this thing, but then that means they also, you know, untap here. I think. Now let's see if I attack with the Hound Tamer, what will happen? If they double block, it's nasty. No, this just makes more sense. So I'm gonna play this thing and sacrifice probably the... Now is the 0-4 better than the 1-1? I think it is. So I'm gonna kill this Of course, when this dies, no, it actually gets exiled, so it doesn't matter. But if it would have died, it would have dealt 1 damage. Anyway, sacrifice a creature, kill this, exile it, and I'd like to leave the Downheart Mentor. It's very decent at 6 mana. You know, the threat of activation is quite huge. So get rid of the Regent, and then I can now attack for 3, because of course they are not gonna jump block with the 1/3. And next turn I can play the Tireless Hauler. Fantastic stuff. And then at some point, if I have 6 mana available, this will be great. Oh right, so are they just mono red? They could be mono red here. Interesting. And do I wanna... They have only 1 here. I think what I want to do here is actually attack with the Hound Tamer, because getting rid of this thing is not that bad. I can use Midnight Ambush for that. Then I can play the Timberland Guide still. And if they double block, this gives -2/-2, so it's not so problematic. And if they don't block, I just play my Tireless Hauler. Oh, they have a 1 mana spell, do they? No, jump block? What is this? Oh, they might have the shock variant here. Whatever, then they kill it. I'll play my 4/5 anyway. And they didn't have... They really just jump blocked while they were at 17 life? What? I think they should have gone to 13. Sorry, 14. Anyway, okay, they have that thing, but it's just a 4/3. I have bigger creatures myself. And there's the 6th mana, so now the Downheart Mentor is up. It can give +3/+3 and trample. So they have a total of... I guess I can trade the Hound Tamer here. Because they can double block, of course. But yeah, I will trade the Hound Tamer with the Village Watch. I don't think it's such a big deal, because I have the 4/5 anyway here. Of course I can use the Midnight Ambush and the Hound Tamer's ability, but they don't do any good if they double block here with the Hound Tamer, which I assume they're gonna make happen here. Or they just take it. Wow. So that's interesting actually. I think I'm gonna give it just a counter and play the Timberland Guide, because that's what I can do here. Should I maybe give it a counter to the another Timberland Guide? Although they are only mono red, they don't deal 6 damage with anything, so maybe I will keep a counter to this thing actually. Deal 8 here now, and then play the Timberland Guide, and I think I'll make it just a 2/2. How are they gonna survive here? They are not, they conceded. So are they mono red, or they just did miss the second color altogether? I saw 4 cards from them. Now they have the Regent. I have 1 Plummet in the sideboard. But if they really are mono red, they won't be having more flyers than the 1 dragon there. And I still have removal on the dragon. So maybe... Well, I mean, Defender Stretch doesn't work against it. Eaten Alive and Midnight Hunt. Sorry, what? Midnight Ambush. They do work. I mean, this of course requires it being night, but I can make it nighty with this deck. I have enough werewolves for that, and Clear Shot can deal with it as well. So am I gonna take a Plummet, which would be a completely blank if they don't draw that specific thing? I don't think I want to. How about the other cards? Howl of the Hunt, Might of the Old Ways. I didn't see removal, but red of course has burn-based removal, and against burn-based removal, pump effects are quite good, you know, counter spells. And of course they have other utility in combat too, but that's like an additional utility to, you know, counter it there. Burn-based removal. But is there some card I don't want to play? I don't want to cut any of my early stuff, because I just want to keep on making plays. I guess something like a Downheart Mentor, even though it was good in this game, might be something I don't care about. Play maybe Might of the Old Ways instead. Oh, do I want to just play the Howl of the Hunt? Okay, actually on the draw, maybe this is a bit slow, so I'm gonna cut this and play the permanent boost effect here. Fine. Okay, they decided they will go first. I have a 6-lander, which I'm gonna mulligan. I don't want to keep a 6 lands. This is a lot better. Alright, so can I afford to lose a land here? I feel like I can. If I draw 1 land, I can cast all my spells anyway. So let's lose the swamp here. That will give me an additional draw, perhaps. Oh, they play red-green. Alright, so they just never drew the green in the previous game. Now, I gave them 1/1 token, but let's see. If they don't have removal on this thing, it's pretty fantastic. They can attack with the wolf because they can trade with the specialist there in that case. They would use 3 mana for it, but I don't think it's worth it. I can use the Midnight Ambush to kill it. Okay, well they have a lot of cards here. I drew a land, that's good. I still have a play available here. So they have so many 1/1s here. At some point this will transform into a 3/3, but I have time to kill it before that happens. I think I should just attack here. Can't imagine them triple blocking. If they triple block, that would be, of course, amazing for me. Anyway, now I can just play the Blade Brand. I'm gonna get... So not Blade Brand, Evolving Wilds. I have double black casters in... Yeah, I have double black requiring spells in the deck, but all the cards that require green mana can be played with 1 green, so I should take a swamp here. And the Occultist is a pretty safe thing because it can block all the 1/1s. And I can take the 3 damage here, and if they, use removal on this thing, I still draw a card. Now I would take a bunch of damage though. It can be a bit risky, but let's see how it goes. They just deal 3 now, that's fine. I can kill the 3/3, no longer with the Midnight Ambush, but of course the whole of the hunt will work. And I know land was a good one, but okay, I can actually leave mana up for the Blade Brand and the Midnight Ambush now. Vampire Warrior. Okay, I'm gonna attack with this thing because if they, let's say, if they quadruple block, they're gonna deal 5 to it. I can use. Well, then I just use Blade Brand, right? Yeah, okay, I can attack with this. This is a bit risky though because they will be. But the entire point of this turn is that I'm not gonna play anything on my turn, and I'm gonna kill the ruffian with the -13 because now it is day. If I don't play anything, it will become night. This is a 6/5 which I can kill with this thing. And then I have the Blade Brand still up. So I think I should just attack here. Maybe they block actually. And they do block here. And they make such a block that makes it really interesting for me now. I could just play the whole of the hunt. Kill the ruffian here. Get a counter on this thing. And then I will have to take some damage though, because that if I use this now. Now I can use a Blade Brand, but that doesn't help alone. I would lose this. Yeah, so let's make it like this. It's a 5/5 and then it becomes a 6/6 because a creature of theirs did die. And okay, they milled a non-creature, so this is still not transforming quite yet. And I can take the 3 here. This can still block the 1 power creatures. So yeah, taking 3 here is no big deal. Don't think. And now it's night, so this will be a -13. I even got a land here, which is quite useful. Are they gonna... This has Vigilance now, because that's fantastic part about the whole of the hunt here. Vigilance is really good when you have a big creature. So they can just jump block, but they no longer... Yeah, that's just too good for me. Don't have to do anything right now. I can block the Pestilent Wolf. If they really use 3 mana to activate the Death Touch, I will just kill it in response. And I even have 2 cards I can use to kill it. They have an Electric Revelation, discarding a 5/5. Now that be my guest. They can now, wait a minute, if they mill a creature, it's gonna, well, then it's a 4/3/3, I mean, yeah, they did. So it's fine still, I can kill it with either of my removal spells here now. Plus I do have a 7/7, that's not insignificant. Green-red deck will have trouble dealing with the 7/7, and it has Vigilance, so I can't even, yeah, I can make them spend now 3 mana here. That's an 8/8 now. Do they have other plays available? The Death Bonnet Hulk is just gonna keep growing, and they just didn't even want to continue the game. I think I would have just killed it. I had the mana for it, and you know, then they would really be hard pressed to start jump blocking with all of their stuff. And a green-red deck, like I said, will have difficulties in beating very big creatures because burn-based removal won't work, and fight or bite-based removal. This is bite-based removal. They only work if you have a Death Toucher dealing the damage, and I just got rid of their Death Toucher, so they were in very big trouble here. Okay, the opponent again got to decide who draws. In best of 3, it's not that big of a deal. You still often want to be on the play, but the starting hands are, this is by the way a good starting hand, but anyway, starting hands are not that good as often as in best of 1. So being on the draw is sometimes better when you have like a risky starting hand that needs to draw some specific card to make it good, and with the extra card draw, that can be exactly what you want to have. And here opponent is actually mulliganing. They went to 6. Oh, did they go to 5? No, oh, sorry. Again, I missed that, but they actually let me start, and they mulligan to 6. So they won the die roll, but they still let me start here. Interesting. Well, I take that. Do they have a 1-drop too? Yes, they do. So I don't think I want to trade here, because I have a pretty easy, you know, fodder for this thing in the Dawnheart Mentor's token. So I'd rather actually just I get the black here because I have double green and I have the one of the double black casters already here. So I'm not gonna trade here. And if they can make this into a 4/4 somehow, let's say they kill my Awakener and then they can make this into a 4/4 somehow easily, then I can use the Defenestrate Steel to kill it. Do they want to trade damage or not? They already know I don't want to trade here because I didn't attack. Okay, this is all fine. The 5-drop wasn't bad at all because I already have 4 lands, so I can easily get this down in this game. I mean, unless I just never draw any 4 more lands in this game. That's very unlikely to happen. My turn 4 could be eating a creature with the Ecstatic Awakener, but let's see what's their play. Of course, if they just leave mana up, I'm not really that interested in maybe sacrificing my stuff. Now that said, I still draw a card even if they have a response to kill it. So it's fairly safe to sacrifice stuff on this thing, especially if it's something insignificant like a 1/1. Okay, they do pass without the play. Oh, well, that is... That's really interesting. How should I do it? Because I kind of want to play the Bat Whisperer here. But if I... Okay, here's what I do. Because of the Bat Whisperer, I'm gonna just attack with both of these, and if they block the Ecstatic Awakener, I will take the trade now. I just want to make sure I will deal damage here now. Because of course if they block the Awakener, I could, sacrifice one of these guys to make it into a 4-4, but not when they have open mana. They have a Loyal Creep. Well, that's actually not so bad, because even if they block the 1-1, I can eat it. So I probably won't be playing the Bat Whisperer here, but this is still not a bad turn for me at all. Because if they block the 1-1, I will just eat it with the Awakener, and I have a 4-4 here. Now they can return a creature. I'm sure they're not gonna return the Ecstatic Awakener here. Why would they do that? That really makes no sense. Unless they have like a mass removal effect. Okay, so they can go to blockers. The Defenestrate, of course, cannot hit a flyer. So they can force me to make the sack, which is fine for me. Okay, they even chose not to do it. So in this case, I won't do it. And I'll just play the Bat Whisperer with slight bit of value. Not that the value is that great now that they have a 2-2 flyer, so my 1-1 flyer isn't that great, but at least it means that if they attack with the Grief, I can attack back for 1 damage. So far I haven't drawn the 5th land, but I have another Tireless Hauler in the deck, and I have 1 6-drop. All the rest of the cards I can cast with the mana I have available. Although there is the 1 removal spell that without paying extra mana will require sacrificing a creature, but I do have stuff I can sacrifice here. Okay, so there's a Gavony Dawn card, and this time I'm gonna read the card. Actually, I don't see it from there. I think my picture face cam might be in front of it. Anyway, this says, when it becomes day or night. Well, when day becomes night or night becomes day. Well, it is now day, so that happens. So look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less and put that one in your hand. The rest go to the bottom. Alright, so this can just give them cards. If I don't play any spell now. Well, I'm gonna play some spell here. And it has Ward 1, so I could kill it with the Defenestrate. Do I want to do that? Then I can attack with a bunch of guys. Yeah, okay. I have now the possibility to do that, so let's do that. And I might still, definitely gonna attack with these, but I'm gonna trade with the Ecstatic Awakener. I don't think I have mana for the 3 mana activation that easily, so I don't mind the trade here now. Let's just trade the Awakeners here. I'm dealing 6 to them anyway. If I had no other use for my mana, I would wait for this too. Okay, they don't actually want to trade here, which is... Maybe it means they have better, food for this thing. But they don't have it yet. They are not gonna sacrifice the Loyal Grief for it. Or that wouldn't be that great if they did. So, well, I guess they only took 1 extra damage there, so it's not maybe that big of a deal. Okay, the Survivor can get a... Well, when it transforms, they can get 2 or cheaper cost creatures back from the graveyard. Not really a thing I care about here too much. I think I'm in a much better shape currently here. And I can't imagine them attacking with the Loyal Grief anymore, because with the life totals and the board position currently, they definitely don't want to be harassing me, even if they can deal 1 additional point of damage. But who knows? Let's see what they do. They haven't eaten alive. And they eat the Dauntless... They sacrificed the Ecstatic Awakener and they exiled my 4-2. I mean, that's actually quite irrelevant for me. And now that's it. They did sacrifice a 1-drop now. So if this thing attacks, they will be able to get it back. But the thing is, it is going to be returning tapped and attacking. But it doesn't cost any mana, so... They can make it into a 4-4 if they use 3 mana. But now that I drew the land, I think it's fairly easy for me to now... yeah, it's super easy for me to now just do like this. Yep. They can't really block the Awakener here because I will just make it into a 4-4. They lose the Avenger in that case. They do realize that. I mean, yeah, kind of assumed they would realize. And yeah, of course, I'll just not play the tireless holder. So no, now this can attack and bring this guy back, but then I have a 4/5 blocker for it. So I guess, well, they can have removal on the tireless holder, but I have the Mask of Griselbrand too, can be quite relevant, and they just play the Silversmith. So that's not going to make their attacks any better. I mean, they can attack with a 3/3 Griff here, but the Dauntless Avenger is going to be only at most a 4/3, which I can eat with my 4/5. So, yep, they don't have a good attack. And this thing actually has to use the ability right. So if they would attack with this thing, they would have to return this, and I would just block with my 1/1. Are they still going to attack with the Griff here? Because it seems like they shouldn't. They maybe should leave it as a blocker, because the 1/1 flyer here is going to do more harm. Now they understood that, and I have a clear shot, which is obviously pretty fantastic here. Now I could kill something before attacking, but let's say if I attack with the tireless holder here alone, what's going to happen? I can't double spell, I can't use this and play anything. I can only do one thing on this turn. I can't play this and equip, so I can only play this, or use this, and there's nothing else I can do. So I have to think carefully what I want to do. So if I just attack with a tireless holder, what's going to happen is that they can triple block it. That's of course the problem. Oh, but that's not a problem because I can kill the Avenger here. Yeah, well, that's easy then. This becomes a 5/6 and they have only 5 power left. My 6 toughness will be enough. So I can do this very, very easily here now. They either have to take 4 or lose some cards now. And if they make the triple block, they will basically lose the game. Because I will... Well, they will still have 1 creature left there, but my tireless holder will survive. So it's a 2-for-1 for me. And that would be also not so great if they do that. Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 no matter how they do the block. Okay, they do the triple block, which doesn't affect the outcome at all, I don't think. Now it's a question of who I want to kill. Well, I'm gonna kill the Griff. I have to kill the Dauntless Avenger with the kill spell. Then these will deal 5 to this. So yeah, okay, this is easy. Clear shot. This gets +1/+1 and kills the Dauntless Avenger. Now I get to eat the Griff still, and this will survive even. So I think it's pretty much game over unless the opponent has the white rat effect, which could wipe the entire board right now. Novice Occultist. Alright, that I don't think is gonna be too amazing for them. Okay, well, there's the land, so I should play it to threaten the activation from the Door Hunt Mentor, and I could play an equip, but that doesn't actually give me the win, so I should just now attack with, I think, like these guys. I'll see what happens. If I attack with these, can I win? The 1/1 flyer makes them go to 8 no matter what. If they block with this so that it dies, they go to 7. This can be a 7 power trampler. If I attack with all, it's not gonna be quite enough, is it? Whatever, let's do it anyway. I don't think there's a very good block for them. They can block the Awakener and the 1/1 here. But even in that case, it's not going to be really that good for them. Because I can eat the 1/1 for the Awakener, and then it's a lot of damage they're gonna take here. Okay, so with this plan, I can pump this guy. It's gonna be a 7 power trampler. 5 gets trampled over. So they're at 4, they're at 3, this dice, they're at... Okay, so they're gonna be left at 1 life if I do that. The other option is to actually just do this, which I think it makes more sense now. Because they're not gonna die. Unless I somehow miscounted, but I think I didn't. I think I only could put them to 2 here. Sorry, to 1. You can point out in the comments if that's not the case. It's also night now, which could be good because this is now a 6-6. But I think there wasn't a way to make them go to 0 life there. Well, they basically need their white rare now, which they didn't have, so it's sideboard time. White and black. Now I have the, graveyard hate card, Rotten Reunion here, but I didn't really see a lot of cards that care about the graveyard. Now white can have disturb creatures, and this thing cares about something that's in the graveyard, but I don't really feel like I necessarily want to have the reunion in here. How about the plummet? I didn't see flyers. Well, there's the loyal grief actually. White can have something else too. How about the pump spells? Now, I guess the more appropriate question is, do I have some card in the main deck I want to cut? Because I don't think I really want to cut my cards in here. Something like a Bat Whisperer maybe could be cut because they have some flyers. The 1/1 flyer might not be that amazing. So I think I can cut at least one Bat Whisperer and take something else. That might be slightly more useful. I just maybe don't know what that might be. Might of the Old Ways, Hall of the Hunt. Well, they are playing white and black. I don't think there's necessarily that many big creatures there that I need to push through with the pump effects. I still have 16 creatures, so yeah, I can still cut the Bat Whisperer. Alright, so how do I do it? I need to sideboard something in. Decisions. It's very hard to tell what's the absolutely best card to sideboard in, but I do like the Hall of the Hunt. It's permanent pump effect, so after you have used it once. So let's use it in this deck too. I'm not so sure about how easy it's gonna get the Coven, so the 2-mana pump spell is good, but mostly it's good when you have an ability to draw a card from the Coven effect. Now this hand has 3 lands, doesn't have the green color here, but I have a 2-drop and a 3-drop I can cast here. So I think I'm gonna risk it and hope that I find... They again let me draw here. Play first. I don't really follow that logic. I think in draft especially you mostly want to be on the play. Although they did see my deck, maybe my deck isn't that aggressive, so who knows. Anyway, if they don't have removal on the specialist, this could be a good start. And if they have, okay, they have an extra 1/1, but I guess if the 1/1 is not that relevant that often. The Blade Brand wasn't a bad draw in the sense that it can allow me to just draw another card, and I can cast it, but of course I hope to draw just a forest before I need to just cycle this card for no other effect. Okay, and there's the forest, so everything is quite fine now. Just attack. I can't imagine them blocking because it makes this into a 4/4 unless they have a removal for it. They could of course block to draw a card, but not necessarily a good idea. Anyway, I have my 3-drop here, and well, I just have a pretty nice curve out here, so to say. Stuff to play. No mana issues now that I drew the forest, so it makes a bit of a difference when you have a good good draw versus when you haven't, because some of my recent events have been a bit unsuccessful, partly because of some bad draws. But at least in this event I have had good draws, and also the results so far have been good because this is my 4th game and all the 3 previous games I have won. Alright, so they didn't use mana now, which means they could have something. Now, I have something too. So I think I don't need the fourth land now because there's nothing I can. I can't use 4 mana for my instant speed ability, so I don't want to give them the information about the fourth land. But I will attack with both, and if they choose to double block the Hoppling Zombie, I won't be using tricks. I will get rid of both of these things, and this will become a 5/5. I want to play the Rejuvenator because that makes sure that I can play the Tireless Hauler here. Now, if they have like a Blade Brand of their own, I can of course punish it by using the Clear Shot here. They can also have something like a Defenestrate on the Specialist. Who knows? But let's see what happens. So there is going to be a Flare of Faith, which, well, it's a human. Yeah, I don't want to lose this for no reason. So let's use this here. Let's target the Hoppling Zombie because it deals 1 extra damage in that case. And they will draw a card still, but because they lost the Flare of Fate now, it's kind of even in terms of mana usage. And now this is a 4/4, of course. Quite nice. Now I did lose my only removal spell so far, but I don't think it's such a big deal. I have a 4/5 coming up, and Blade Brand still could be useful at some point. If nothing else, it will draw me a card. Opponent, of course, does have 6 cards in their hand because they did let me go first, so they have the extra card there. They have only a Lunarch Veteran for this turn, which is not going to really do a whole lot here. I think I still take the double block they might have on the Hoppling Zombie. And then just play the Rejuvenator. Now I could play the Timberland Guide, give a counter to the Hoppling Zombie, but if they make the double block, I don't actually care. I just rather play the Dawnheart Rejuvenator. Of course, if they double block and have nothing, this becomes a 6/6. Now they can still kill it like a Defenestrate and that's it. But it's fine. I have the 4/5 on the next turn. Unless they somehow kill this Rejuvenator, which I think that they could kill if they have a Plains and then the White Wrath. It's an 8 mana Wrath, but it costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield, so it would cost 5 now, but they do need double white for that. So that's something they could have. And then if they have a spot removal on the Specialist, they won't have a lot of mana for anything else, and this still can attack. And well, this won't attack if I don't draw a land, but anyway. Well, I can still attack if I want to use the Timberland Guide instead, but let's see. So they haven't eaten alive, but they used their own entire turn for it. And there's a land, so this is very easy. I will use this as a 2 mana. No, 2 damage to face now. Definitely worth it now that they're gonna go down to 5. And yeah, all my creatures are now threatening to be lethal in a couple of turns. I have the Timberland Guide, which I could use on the Rejuvenator, making it into a 3/5. But let's see now what the opponent finds. They have a very good card in there. Okay then. So they have only 1 mana up. Now I'm glad I have the Blade Brand, because that allows me to win here. Oh, they actually have the jump block. Oh, well, this is super easy now. I didn't even realize, but unless they have something for 1 black, this thing is going to make them... It's going to force the jump block, because this will... the important thing is that I must not attack with the Rejuvenator here, because then they can block this and gain 4 life. But now if I only attack with this, they have to jump block. They will gain 4 life here, but who cares? Because I don't even have to use the Blade Brand now. And that was good. Now they again need a mass removal effect here. Cathar Commando main phase. Oh yeah, they don't want to make it into... Okay, well, that's interesting, because now when they play this thing, it wasn't becoming night. Well, let's see what they have. Maybe they still have... That can't block, so who cares? No one cares. I don't think the Vengeful Strangler is a good card at all. Maybe if you have a very aggressive, like a red-black deck, in that it could be a reasonable card. But I don't think it's that good otherwise. Another Tiles Hauler. Alright, so they have the things they can block with. Well, actually all the creatures have 1 toughness, so I can just attack with all. If they want to double block the Rejuvenator, who cares? So let's just do the attack here. Phantom gets exiled if it dies. And with the other Tireless Hauler, the opponent basically has to have a mass removal effect. That's the only thing that can save them, I think. They can, I guess they can take 8 here, but that's really probably not what they want to be doing. So they at least jump that thing. Take 3, I guess. Okay, they will trade with the 1/1. That's acceptable. They gain 1 point of life now. So am I gonna play around the Rat effect? Well, no, I'm not, because the thing is, it's more likely they have a spot removal on the Hauler here, and if they kill this, this 2/4 will have a, you know, it's not a fast enough clock here. So I'm gonna just pressure them and force them to have a mass removal effect here. 1 spot removal won't be. Well, it can buy them time. Now they had 1 spot removal, but now I'm still dealing 6 here. And they played their last card from their hand. Oh, blood. This thing. Well, I can play it still. I could keep a counter here without and not attack with this thing, but I don't think that makes so much sense. I'd rather make them go to 2 and basically force them to draw a mass removal effect, because they won't be able to deal with this board with anything else than a mass removal effect, because they have a creature. Okay, Dreadhound is very good, but it's just sadly for them not gonna do enough. Now I have a lethal attack here, so it can just they should attack and I'm not gonna block. No blocks there, and then I'm just going to kill them. Don't have a lifelink, so game is over. Okay, so 2 wins out of 2 matches, so I could go 3-0, but it requires, of course, winning the last match. Now I get to choose to be on the play. And this hand, it's a tough one, because it's a 2-lander with 2 4-drops and 1 5-drop. And then again, it has a 2-drop and it has a 2-mana spell that can draw me another card. I think because of the Blade Brand and the fact that I have something to use it on, and I can of course use this on an opponent's creature as well if I just want to draw a card. I'm gonna keep it, but this is a bit risky. The thing is that mulligan into 6 is also a bit risky, so it's not really. If you mulligan to 6, which the opponent actually did here, it's not a guarantee that you will have a good hand. Sometimes you have to mulligan to 5, and that's horrible. And even in a 6-card hand, you will have to lose one of them. All of these cards will be relevant in this game if I draw just, enough lands in here. So I don't wanna. Okay, they have a champion here, which is very good as your first card. But I did draw a land here, so that's good. That's very good. Now, do they have more zombies? Well, they are blue-black. Okay, this can be a bit awkward here. Let's see what they draw. I might want to use the Blade Brand on their turn. I might not. Okay, I'm gonna use the Blade Brand on their turn. Of course, on their creature, because if they have some interaction, I'd rather they use that on their own. They can have the bounce spell that bounces their guy. Okay, clear shot is good. Land is even better. So let's see. It feels like they have a counter spell. But I'm still gonna try to play the Bat Whisperer. Okay, they have a... Oh, that's so good. Oh, I'm gonna let them block here. Because you know what happens. I kill both of the guys. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be 1-3. It kills this and kills this too. Okay. Alright, that was pretty wild. Okay, do they have a good blocker? They have blocker, I don't mind if they... Yeah, I could get the Bat Whisperer with value. And if they block, I don't care. I can't imagine them blocking. Yeah. And this is... And I got the 5th land, so I can start playing my Thales holders. This is fantastic. I'm gonna use this. I'm not gonna keep them guessing if I have a splash or not. I just want to, pass the turn quickly here. I don't want to click on the priorities on opponent's turn. Now the game is not over yet, but it really seems good for me. Now they could have so they pass the turn with 5 mana up. They could have the 3/3 flyer with flash. They could also have a counter spell. I think because even if I attack and they don't have the 3/3 flash flyer, I would want to play the 5-drop now because I have another one here. It's the best way to use my mana. I will play this pre-combat to learn about, because if they counter this, okay, they did not. They didn't seem to do anything though. Am I gonna sacrifice the Timberland Guide? Because if I'm not attacking with the 2/2 and 1/1, I'm losing 3 damage here. I could attack with the Bat Whisperer. I'm gonna risk it. I got already quite a bit of value and they actually had nothing. Stone nothing on turn 5. They had 3 cards in their hand. They did nothing. With 5 mana. Either they are flooded or they have some very reactive spells. Or expensive spells they don't want to use. Well, they conceded, so I guess they just had mostly lands in hand. They did mulligan though, so maybe they kept like a high land count hand. But yeah, the turn with the Nebelcast Intruder, which usually is the card that allows them to get a 2-for-1. But because they had the Intruder and I had the clear shot here, I actually was the player who got the 2-for-1 there. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so the blue-black. At least one disturb creature. Maybe this is the time when I actually do have the Rotten Reunion sideboarded in. What is the card I don't want to have in that case? I don't want to lose my cheap card, but I guess the Blade Brand is at its weakest against blue-black, which has a lot of instant speed interaction. So I could not play the Blade Brand and have the Rotten Reunion maybe instead. I guess the Duress won't be that bad, but I saw most of the creatures from there, so I don't want to sideboard the Duress in quite yet. How about the Bat Whisperer? That's actually another card I could cut here and maybe have but what would it be then? Kinda like the Hall of the Hunt still. Better than the Blade Brand here. Plummet? Nah, let's use the Hall of the Hunt. I haven't drawn my black-green uncommon at all. The 4/3 for 4 that gets some +1/+1 counters for each creature that died that turn. I haven't even seen it. And this is the 3rd match in the draft. Well, there it is. Grizzly Goal. Also in a hand that I will be keeping. 3 lands, both colors. Opponent mulligans again. So if I don't have anything else as 2-drop, I can play the Midnight Ambush if they have a target for it. And then on turn 4 I can maybe play the Grizzly Goal. Of course I can draw other 2 of 3-drops too. Land was good because I definitely need the land to play the Grizzly Goal and hopefully the Tireless Hauler too. That is something I don't care about. Also what I can't care about because it has 3 toughness. 3 untapped creatures tapped. Yeah, okay, fine. That's not really a problem at all. I kinda hope they play something with 2 toughness, but they play something I need to discard 2. Alright, so it's kinda tough because I don't want to lose lands now with the hand I have. I'm gonna discard the whole of the hunt. That's like an easy thing. The tireless hauler is something I could do, but and the midnight ambush is also. I guess with 2/5 drops, I don't want to lose any lands here. Now, if I don't discard the forest and I draw like 2 lands in back to back, that will be horrible. But I think I will discard these spells here and instead just make sure I have. Okay, that the first land, if I knew there was land, I would definitely have cut a land there. And this also won't be that great. It's only a 4/3. Okay, another land. Like I said, the worst case when I choose to discard both of these is that if I draw 2 lands back to back. The thing is that if I discard a forest and I draw 2 non-lands, especially expensive cards, that could be bad. But that was what it was, and I still have a decent, okay, there's the flip the switch, which wasn't a surprise at all. Now they can start use the ladder zombie top card of library, and then they can basically make the draws a bit better here. But yeah, that discard card was pretty annoying. I guess currently they don't have any target for the -2/-2. They chose to keep that card on the top, by the way. Trespasser is annoying for sure, but well, let's see if they have a removal on this thing. Now, problem is, of course, opponent is having 3 lands on the battlefield, which means the 3 cards in their hand are all spells. And look at this, I have drawn this many lands here. So was this only lands? When I chose to not discard a forest, I have drawn 3 lands back to back. And there is of course a defenestrate. Now, with this thing, it will become night at some point, and this midnight ambush would be hugely relevant here now. At least I have a rotten reunion, which might be worth something at some point. There's nothing worth discarding yet, though. Consider, okay. Do they mill that card, or do they want to keep it on top? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to lose a forest in the discard decision, because if I don't draw lands, I would still have had access to 3 mana, and most of the spells in my deck can be played with 3 mana, especially when I had already 1 4 mana card in my hand and 2 5 mana cards in my hand. So maybe I should have thought about it a bit more and just discard the forest and the whole of the hunt here. They chose to keep the card on top, so they did not mill it. So whatever they have on the top of the deck is something they wanted to draw, and now they can of course use the ladder zombie to fix their next draw as well. Are they gonna mill that? Or is it still going to be something they want? They milled an island, okay. Well, I could be flooding out here. Alright, well that's, I mean, that counter spell, removal, and the discard spell that got rid of 2 of my cards. Well, if they have all that and they only have that amount of land, that's it. It's enough to win. At least I got the Dreadhound, which is pretty fantastic. Let's see if they have yet another removal spell, because if they have a third one, well then they deserve to win, and let's go to game 3 in that case. Okay, they can fix their draws with the ladder zombie. I can... Oh, there was the Mask of Griselbrand. That's a card that could have really done some work here. But I guess the more important part here currently is that if they have a... If they do have a removal spell on that thing. They have a startle that draws them a card, okay. Do they have an attack? They did not attack. But they have still spells in their hand. One of them is just a champion of the perished. It's okay, but the problem of course is that they have the ladder zombie here, granting value for them. If I attack now, I can face up to 10 damage, so I can't really attack. This doesn't have vigilance. I wish I had my Mask of Griselbrand here, because that would be fantastic. But yeah, they're gonna fix their draws with the ladder zombie. I think that's too much value for them. They can do it twice per turn now, and they even didn't choose to get there, so they again drew a card they wanted to have. So I'm guessing it's gonna be a game over quite soon. Now I haven't really seen a lot of disturb and stuff like that. So is there a chance that this Rotten Reunion just isn't gonna be that good? With the Behemoth and me drawing all these lands, it's time to concede now. I can't beat them with these lands. I guess even if I discarded one land to the discard spell, it wouldn't have helped too much. I would have had one removal spell on these, but I wasn't gonna beat them, especially because the ladder zombie is really decent in making them draw only relevant spells, or mostly relevant spells. So I felt like the Rotten Reunion doesn't have targets in that deck, so I'm gonna do something else. With the amount of removal they have, the counter spell they have, consider flip the switch. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the duration here. It can still whiff sometimes, but it also gives you some valuable information, so I'm going to play that. How about the Blood Pact? That wouldn't be that bad, because it seems like their deck is not that fast, so I can maybe lose 2 life to draw 2 cards, but then again, at this point I don't think I wanna sideboard out any creatures here, so maybe I'll just I'll just have it like this. Man, this hand would be so good if I had a forest in place one of those swamps. Am I gonna lose the final game in the event by keeping this hand and not drawing a forest? The fact is I have a Defenestrate and a Eaten Alive here. I'm gonna keep it, but I really don't like these hands. This is the reason, again, I'm gonna say it. This is the reason I pick Evolving Wild so high. I hate these starting hands, because these can be fantastic or they can be ones that make you lose the game. It's all about luck. Can I draw the green source or not? Well, how about that? I had 8 forests in the deck, 1 Evolving Wilds. I drew one of the 8 forests. It was like a almost 25% chance, but that's not such a high chance. Alright, so here I have nothing really to do here, and I want to get rid of this guy no matter what. And the fact I have the Bat Whisperer, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm not gonna even offer the trade, because there's like a chance maybe I can attack and connect with this thing next turn and then get the 1/1 Bat token. Who knows? Unless they have a flip the switch. Okay, well, they have that. This thing has a ward, discard a card. So if I want to use the Eaten Alive on it, I would have to discard a card. I don't like that idea. It would be the Bat Whisperer. I'm gonna just play this. But yeah, sadly they had a 3-mana 3/3 here. Something a blue-black deck doesn't usually have unless it's a higher rarity card, which it was now. And they made it into a darn, it seems like they have to flip the switch here. And I have no instance here. If I had an instant speed effect, I would just do it in a heartbeat. Man, now a duress would be so good. I can't even use the eaten alive without, because the flip the switch says, of course, that they can pay 4 mana. But if I want to play around that, I would have to play my land. And then I can't discard the land for this ward effect. Why did they have to pass the turn without making a play? And they again missed the land drop, so they have 5 spells in their hand. This would be so good for me if they don't have specifically the flip the switch. But am I gonna miss making a play? Maybe I'll play the Bat Whisperer here. I mean, that is something I could do instead. Play the Bat Whisperer and see if they have to flip the switch. I'm gonna do that actually. Let them counter that. I don't want the Tidus Holder to be countered here. Yeah. But yeah, they are at 3 lands. If they have other stuff that they can use too. I mean, they can even attack with this guy now. Man, the fact they had specifically this rare on turn 3, that just completely made my clock, non-existent, and they're actually the one clocking me now, and they... All they need is something like a defenestrate for the Tidus Holder. I'm gonna lose in this board position. If they just play 1 spell a turn. I mean, I kind of want them to hit land drops, because if they don't, that means they have 5 spells in their hand. And when they have the... I don't have the better board here. So I basically... Well, I mean, let's see what they do. They have some options here at least. But yeah, okay, well, there's a duress. There is that. How many flip the switches can they have? They can have the Nebelcast Intruder here, actually. Yeah, they can have that. Oh man, I wish I played the Tidus Holder main phase, because now if I attack and they have the Intruder, they get to pick my Timberland guy for free. If they have another counter spell, then I should have... Yeah, I'm not gonna attack, I'm gonna do this, and if they have a counter spell, I just played badly in that case. Okay, they didn't have a counter spell, and now it's night, so... Okay. Well, like I said, I still have the Eaten Alive for this thing, so I can kill it if I discard a card. So all I need here is, I guess... Fine. That happened. That happened then. Talk about the perfect draw from the opponent compared to what I had. And that all was made possible by the 3/3/3. Imagine any other 3-mana card a blue and black deck can play on turn 3. A creature, a 2/2 flyer, something like a 3/2 with disturb or something like that. I could have raised all of that stuff, but they had a 4/4 that allows them to, drain me when they attack, when I have stuff in my graveyard which I was going to have, because they had ways to kill and make me discard cards. So that was just pretty unfortunate that they had that specific rare and that specific combination of interaction in their hand. I still like the deck, but I am disappointed about, again, not getting to max wins, because my limited events in the past, quite a few drafts, have been not that successful, and I felt like this could be the time when I actually can recoup at least some gems here by going 3-0. Well, that didn't happen, and I still got a mythic rare, and I got to 2 wins, which is the good result in a traditional draft. But it doesn't, of course, offset any of those bad results. You need those 3-0s to offset the bad results, and I have had more bad results than I have had 3-0 results, especially when considering also the premier drafts I played. But so be it. The opponent had the perfect cards against me in the final game. At least I did draw the forest right away in the final game, so I did actually keep a 3 swamp hand with a green, sorry, 3 swamps, yep, with a green 2-drop, and I did draw the forest right away, so I was able to play the 2-drop in time. But that wasn't enough when they had the rare 3-drop and the interaction they had. And they were stuck at 3 lands, so that's the thing. It might feel like I was conceding a bit early there, but the fact is that they were stuck at 3 lands and they had so many spells in their hand, they made me discard my final 2 cards in the hand. And even though I had this effect here available, it wasn't gonna be beating the card they had there, you know, the 4/4. I was actually losing the race, even if I had the mentor up. And if any kind of late game, long game situation, the fact they had so many more spells than I still didn't land. I mean, I had nothing in my hand, and they had a bunch. That was just a unwinnable game for me. But maybe at some point I can actually get the max result. The deck, yeah, green, black, maybe not the strongest archetype, but it had a bunch of decent cards. I mean, all the uncommons from the green they were pretty decent. But yeah, to be fair, the green cards wasn't really the best in this deck. I guess the 2 Hound Tamers were really good. And imagine if I had these as my 3-drop as an answer to the opponent's 3-drop there. I could have used the counter adding ability there and all that. Well, I didn't have it. Anyway, point is that most of the deck's good cards were black. But the green had some like okay-ish support. And the Tireless Haulers were pretty decent, but also the last game showed that if the opponent has removal interaction using 5 mana on a creature, and that doesn't have an enters the battlefield ability, it can be, you know, pretty risky. But of course, in the other games, these were the cards that won me the game. So it's a kind of a, they are not always bad. It's match-up dependent whether they are good or not. Anyway, I talked way too much here. Let's claim the prize here, and next one will be a Premier Draft, so I will see you then. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.